I want to start with a question from, would you believe, P. Zabaleta.
Oh, get to fuck with you guys.
I doubt it's actually Pablo.
Well, I don't care. I don't want to answer it.
It's not about you and how superior he was in your position. But what do you think about the Real Madrid Vinicius Junior Ballon d'Or situation? Do you think Real Madrid's response was justified?
No, I didn't at all. I thought it was very disrespectful.
Yeah, I thought it was quite pathetic, actually.
Yeah, very.
Because they won the team, didn't they? They got Carlo Ancelotti got Coach of the Year, which in itself I thought, was Xavi Alonso. What he did was truly extraordinary. Carlo Ancelotti, fantastic, won the Champions League, and it generally goes to the Champions League winner. But for what Xavi Alonso did at Bayer Leverkusen, winning them the title without losing a single match, winning the German Cup as well. So I think he was probably hard done by. I mean, it wasn't probably much to choose between Vinicius Junior and Rodri. It was probably quite a tight call. But, Rodri was player of the tournament in the Euros. Vinicius Junior, great as he is, and he's had a fantastic season and scored in the Champions League final. But I didn't. We all thought that Rodri. We said it.
We said it. What, two months ago? We all were asked, and I think all three of us said that we thought Rodri was going to win it. So, if anyone from Real Madrid, I would have thought it would have been Carvajal, not Vinny Junior. No.
Yeah, possibly.
After what he'd done and achieved and won.
I think you could say he's a bit unlucky not to win it, and we've been in a situation where we've not quite won it, and it's disappointing. But for the club to kind of snub the event, and I just thought, come on, be better than that. There's almost like an entitlement.
Yes, that's exactly it. I mean, a lot of talk about Vinicius snubbing it, but it was Real Madrid.
Yeah. The club
it was the whole of them. There's loads of people that were supposed to attend, wasn't there? Yeah. But I mean, Rodri was a deserved winner. I feel like when you talk about a player, it's like, we don't think Vinicius is good. Vinicius is outstanding. Yeah. He's brilliant. We just thought over the course of the season, Rodri had a better season. I think he was very important to what Man City were doing, and then he goes and does it with Spain. By the way, Spain weren't favourites to win the Euros. No, they were supposed to be a team in transition, and he was the best player in the tournament. So, yeah, I don't change my mind on that. Both top players, but I thought Rodri deserved it.
Yeah, and he hardly lost a game of football that he played in the entirety of the season. There was very few few games that they lost. Right, we'll move on, though, to Emma. Following Ten Hag's departure from Manchester United, I was wondering how players are told that their manager has been sacked. How long is it before it's made public? Do they find out beforehand, or do they find out at the same time? And do you ever get a chance to say goodbye in person? Well, you've experienced this, Alan, so tell us.
Well, it's been several, hasn't there?
Well, actually, you weren't really sacked, were you?
I weren't. No, it was the end of the season. Yeah, it was. I think it's you find out probably just before it's going to be released. I think I'm just trying to think of other experiences where managers have lost their job. Kevin at Newcastle, he left himself rather than be sacked. Yeah, I think you probably my feeling is, and over the years, it's you get to know just before it's going to be released, maybe half an hour or an hour before something's coming out.
The press know before the players. I don't know why that is.
Leaks. It's called leaks, sort of Micah.
Rumours about Mark Hughes losing his job, and then after the game, I think he won the game, and he come in the dressing room and says, right, I think I'm being sacked now. And he just said, all the best, and walked out. It was the most surreal thing I've ever seen.
You had Van Gaal, didn't you? He was told just before they won the cup or something, and on the day of the game, or it leaked out. I think what happens is generally...
After the game in the lift or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I happened to me couple of occasions. Terry Venables at Barcelona. but I think they kind of just are told and then disappear, don't they? Unless, I mean, obviously I knew Terry and we had lunch or dinner after it or something, but generally, players are sort of the last to find out.
No, that's right. Yeah, I mean, we didn't. There was a Ruud Hullet one at Newcastle. I'm just trying to think. It was sort of we found out basically the same time as it was announced. Yeah, it came out. So yeah.
A question from Steve: how much practice did you do to stay on side, or did it come naturally? Players like Haaland never seem to be offside, but others seem to be offside all the time.
Well, I'm best placed to talk about the holding the bed.
I was thinking of that on Sunday. I was watching Man United, and I was looking at Garnacho, and I was looking at Højlund, and I was looking at Rashford, and I was thinking the number of times that you're offside. It's like, is that? And it's like, so. Are you working on this? Are you aware of it or what? It's like, goodness me. Even the Mbappe, remember Mbappe, I don't know what, 2 or 3 weeks ago? I think he got caught offside 5 or 6 times in the first half.
Was
it 7 in the first?
Yeah.
It was just incredible. I'm thinking, really, with your pace? You can work on it. Your timing of your runs and everything like that. Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder whether there's a little bit of it, because you don't see that many out-and-out nines now. And like he mentions Haaland, who's rarely caught offside because of the nature of his run. So he'll go towards the ball and then he'll spin, or he'll make a bendy run backwards. And then he knows how quick he is. So if there's a high line, he'll back himself. And a lot of players went early. Now, in my career, I was a little bit like the style of Haaland, in the sense that I'd love to play high and I love to spin all the time. And I love to get behind defenders. And against teams that played an offside trap, say Arsenal, for example, that used to all put their arms up, didn't they, and play the offside trap.
Yeah.
In those games, I'd actually be deliberately offside on a couple of occasions, particularly if we were playing at home and the crowd are there. So because I'd encourage them to play the high line. I always used to kind of deliberately offside a couple of times in the first 5-10 minutes. And then I think there's a thing, we've got him every time. And the linesman puts his flag up a couple of times and the crowd get onto him. And then you start doing your proper runs and kind of just bending that run down, or going towards the ball and then spinning behind. So you time it to when the guy's going to pass it. I think there seems to be, maybe because there are not that many out-and-out nines now, and they get in there, and even Mbappe, because he generally plays wide left, didn't he? And now at Real Madrid, they're kind of playing him and Vinicius up top. And he doesn't need to go early, Mbappe. I mean, he's so quick.
Absolutely.
He's so quick. So, I mean, he's so intelligent as well that I'm sure he'll work it out pretty quickly.
There's even less of an excuse, though, if you're out wide, because you're looking across the whole of the pitch.
But yeah, absolutely.
Isn't there? It's like in the centre forward position, you've got to gamble. And I don't mind if someone's going to be offside 3 or 4 times in the hope that it's that tight that you'll get away with one. That back in the day, obviously that's changed now with VAR. But if you're making that run to try and get them deeper and deeper and deeper in the hope that you'll just get that one opportunity that you want, I don't mind that. But I haven't seen that with players in terms of getting caught. No, and there's far too many get caught.
There are still players that are quite good at it. I think Ollie Watkins times his runs very well.
Yeah.
I think Jamie Vardy's timed his runs well for a long time. For Leicester, he's really good at it. Yes, he'll get caught occasionally offside, but that's often when the pass is slightly delayed, because you time your run off when you think they're going to pass it. Yeah. And that can be annoying as a striker, can't it, Alan? When you just you think you time your run perfectly, and then they decide to have another little touch. It's like, wah!
If you've made that great run and the pass doesn't come, then that's bloody frustrating.
Yeah, agreed. Right, let's move on to Gers. Hi, Gary, Alan and Micah. Hi, Gers. 2 questions. How good do you actually have to be to play top division football? I don't mean the likes of KDB or Salah. I mean to even just be a first team starter at a mid-table club. Would you be able to put it into words?
Good question.
It's a good question. And it's something that I've always kind of battled people when they say so-and-so's useless, he's not very good, he's a journeyman Premier League player. And you think to yourself, do you have any idea of how good you've got to be to get to the top level? I mean, and the problem I always think is it's something like golf, Alan, that we've played a lot of, and we've been fortunate enough to play with the top players, and you can measure yourself against them because you play on the kind of the same. You play on the same golf course, and you know it's not really against anybody. When you're watching golf, you never really go, "Oh, I could do better than that. I could do better than that," because we all know how difficult it is. But I think in football, so many people play it, but you tend to end up at the level that you are. So therefore, I don't think you ever have the chance to play. I mean, imagine amateurs playing in Premier League football, and then they would realise. I always say to them, hang on a minute. Most people say to me, oh, when I was at school, there was this kid that was unbelievable, and he got on Chelsea's books, say, or Everton's books. And, you know, it didn't really happen for him. And he was so good. And I go, yes, because it's so hard. It's so hard to make it at that particular level. Now, sometimes I think it's a lack of understanding rather than disrespect of players that you know, they're perhaps not the Mo Salahs or the Haalands of this world, but they are genuinely really, really good footballers.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think as well, it goes off the speed. So if you go watch Sunday League, how much time people have on the ball or how long it takes them to go make a tackle. In the Premier League, you've got to make a decision at a fraction of a second. Otherwise, you're getting punished. If you look at even the level with Championship and the Premier League, I think physically it's quite similar, but you see strikers score 20, 30 goals in the Championship, and then they come to the Premier League and they struggle to get 10, you know, because everyone's making better decisions most of the time. But I do believe football is a little bit easier now to get involved with at a higher level, maybe to just 20 years ago. And I say that because I think players are just a lot fitter now. I think if you're really fit with the way the game is going, with the press, and you could do that really well, whereas 20 years ago, it was just more about physicality, or power, or someone who's really special on the ball, whereas now it's like who can run the most. When coaches are looking at stats and all that sort of thing now, they're talking about how long a player's got to recover, how many sprints are making a game, how quick they can accelerate, how quick they can run and keep them numbers within a certain level in terms of the high intensity. So, yeah, I think football's always changing and evolving.
I think the other thing I'd point out as well is that it's such a global sport, and so therefore it's played by so many more people than most other sports. So therefore the competition is greater. So therefore, imagine how good you've got to be to get to absolutely the top of the tree. We've got a question from Joe. Joe asks, with these celebrity owners in the Football League, e.g. Wrexham, Birmingham, etc., which club outside of the Premier League would you like to take over and why? Well, last season that would have been easy. That would have been Leicester, but we're back in the Prem. I don't think I'd ever want to take a football club on, would you?
Nope.
Well, no, you can't do right for wrong, wouldn't you? Whatever you do, you're going to get hammered, aren't you? I mean, there's not many have the success of what's happened to Wrexham. I mean, that is a fairy tale story from where they took over to where they are now and where they could go. That's the glory side of it. There are plenty others, maybe not celebrities, that have tried to get their football club up, but plenty have lost a lot of dough in doing so.
Read the question again, Gaz. Sorry, I think I just missed the back end of it.
Which club outside of the Premier League would you like to take over and why?
Oh, because the reason I asked that is because I won't mention the club, but a club got in contact with me to basically be the front man for their club. Big investors.
Really?
They wanted me to be the guy who would bring everyone together, pick a coach, pick the players that I wanted, But what they wanted from me was too much. It was too far from my house, and it was it was never going to work.
Fucking hell, what the fuck did they see in you that they thought you could run the football club?
They needed someone with a charisma, you know what I mean? Someone who's knowledgeable about the game. Someone who's got contacts.
What the fuck did they contact you for then?
This was obviously Manchester City, but in the end you just opted for an ambassadorial role, yeah?
Hey, no, we can't talk about ambassador roles, basically, because some journalist is basically going around asking broadcasters which broadcasters are associated to clubs in terms of
really
ambassadorial roles, because are they being biased to the team that they're ambassadors of?
Honestly, they try everything, don't they? I mean,
Everything.
it doesn't. It's football. It's not. It's not politics. So anyway, Connor,
funny.
Can you be classed as a world-class player without winning any trophies? For example, a player such as Bukayo Saka. He would have won some. He would have won the FA Cup, wouldn't he? At least. Well, yes, you can. Harry Kane, for one, world-class player.
Of course he
hasn't
can.
won any trophies.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
I think
Easy.
I think Harry Kane's the best example of that.
Yeah.
But I think this year he's going to win a trophy. But yeah, I mean,
they're back on top of the league, aren't they now? Buying with him, I think they're 2 or 3
Yes,
points
Leipzig
clear now.
lost. Leipzig lost. Bayern back top. Another 2 goals at the weekend of Harry Kane. He's just prolific.
no. But before we move on, did you see Yamin Lamal's pass for one of Barcelona's goals this weekend?
Outside the foot.
Outside of the foot.
Oh my word!
Oh, the pace, the precision, the timing, the way. He's sensational. He is.
They're flying. Barca are flying.
I think it was for almost goal. I think it was.
Yeah. Toby Ryman Tubb. Great name. Which of the current Premier League players has the best attributes to become a future top flight manager? Oh, that's so hard to know with players, isn't it? Because I played with Mark Hughes and I never thought in a million years he'd be a manager. And he had a really, really good managerial career. He was so kind of quiet. Rodri? It generally is those kind of holding midfield players that seem to become the best managers.
That's a good shout. That is Rodri. What about James Milner?
Milner, yeah, that's a good shout.
Played for loads of different managers. He's played for some big clubs. Won everything.
Good shouts. It's difficult to know without knowing their personalities in the dressing room, isn't it? Because you're right. There were guys that I would look at my dressing room and think, you're definitely going to be a manager, and then think you've got no chance, and then they go into it. It's really, really strange.
I saw Pep talking about he thought Gundogan would make a really good coach, manager going down the line. So, yeah. But you never know. But it just does seem to be those kind of intelligent holding midfield players, isn't it? That, like Xavi Alonso.
Well, I started as an intelligent holding midfield player.
Yeah, not for long. Jeff Sell. As an 80s child, I loved reading football comic style stories with characters such as Gary Lineker. I've never heard of that before. I was wondering if Micah and Al have ever had characters named after them too.
Not that I'm aware of.
Big Meeks is like a character, isn't it?
That in itself should be, shouldn't it? Yeah. Doesn't need any kind of elaboration. We've got one of our favourite ones here. Noah Mulugeta. Start, bench, sell. Aguero, Rooney, Drogba. Oh, blimey. Who wants to go first?
Start Rooney. Yeah. Bench Aguero, sell Drogba.
I'd agree with that.
And I know I'm going to have Chelsea fans on me, the important goals he scored, and then the Champions League, what he did. Drogba was unbelievable.
Yeah. Let's say at this point, they're all great.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
They're all great.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Still going to get hammered though, Micah.
Still going to get hammered, of course.
Al?
Start Rooney. sell Drogba and what was it? Bench Aguero, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, we've all said the same then.
I'm going to change. I'm going to start Rooney, but I think Drogba would be a really good asset on the bench. Give you something a little bit different. And I'm only doing this just to be different from you two and sell Aguero. Elliot Haldane. Back when you were all playing, what was your approach to recovery? Was there anything you prioritised, i.e. sleep, nutrition or stretching?
I hated the ice baths.
Oh, that wasn't around in my day, thank heavens. Oh, I can't stand that cold. Ooh, I'm a wimp. I've always been a wimp. I don't know.
Was you guys good professionals, though? Seriously. All jokes aside, was you, like, bang on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. You can't... I don't think you can get to the very top without being...
But I thought there was a big drinking culture back then, like...
Well, you could still have a drink. There's no harm in having a drink. There's no harm in having a drink now, so long as you do it at the right time.
Yeah, do it after a game when you're not playing in the week, or, that's kind of occasional stuff. But generally, I would have looked after myself pretty well. I wasn't a big drinker back then. No, but you'd still, we'd have a night out after a game on a Saturday night, But yeah, that aside, were we good professionals? God.
Yeah, what a stupid question that is.
Yeah.
Micah's question, not the other one.
I've heard stories about you boys back in the days. Out till all hours, drinking the Guinness.
You can't beat a pint of Guinness. Freya, last question. If you had to coach one team in the relegation zone right now, which team would you pick and what would be your first move? Well, I'm not a coach and wouldn't know how to coach. Which team would you... Who's in the relegation zone?
I'll go Wolves.
Yeah.
I'll go Wolves.
Yeah, they've probably got Wolves, the individuals.
Ipswich and Southampton, I think it is.
Yes, it is.
I think they've got the better players. I think they're just struggling for confidence at this moment in time, although they had a late equaliser the game before last. I think with Strun Larsen up front and Cunha and Gomez and Ait Nori.
Do you think they've got the best chance then, do you? Or those
I just think they've got the best players. I don't know if they've got the best chance because just because you've got the best players, once the confidence drops, it can be very difficult, can't it? But I just think they've been in the Premier League a while. They've got a manager who looks like he was really good tactically, although it's not gone the way he would have liked over the last couple of weeks. But if I was backing players, I would go with Wolves.
Yeah, I don't think I'd argue with that, to be honest. I think, yeah, when I look at the other two, Southampton and Ipswich, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that one. I would say Wolves. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Wolves will go down. And if you had to take on a side at the minute, the other two sides obviously promoted, and it's difficult, isn't it? When you come into the top flight, you haven't probably got the talent that perhaps some of the other clubs have got, and as we know now, it's difficult to actually to change that because of the nature of the PSR.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree. I think Wolves have got enough, and don't forget, Wolves have had a really tough start. They've played all the kind of top half teams in the opening stages of the season, so they've actually got a really kind of decent run of fixtures coming up. And if against teams in the bottom half, so I think they could slide up the table. Producer John will be very happy to hear that as a Wolves fan. So that's it. Thanks you once again for sending in your questions. We always appreciate it. But for now, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
We'll be back on Friday discussing Champions League football.